It doesn't seem that long ago that we were all at home and we heard this.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home. You must stay at home.
For some people that watched that, they ended up staying at home for over a year. And as a result of that, some people that were self-employed, they ended up losing their businesses. People that were employed ended up in furlough, and others just couldn't really cope with their mental health. However, this next guest on the podcast ended up on furlough, but took the opportunity to use lockdown to search and research for opportunities. And as a result of that, has created a business that's now flourishing and employing people. And that is what entrepreneurship is all about. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea, and watch this next episode of Entrepreneur TV.
I'm Chris Chevalier Moniz. I'm the Managing Director, Founder, Owner of a company called Volta Charge Points, and we supply electric vehicle chargers right across the UK, and we're supplying wholesalers, we sell to installers, and we sell to consumers as well. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. We're based in Caterham in Surrey, and we have a warehouse which is in Birmingham in the centre of the country.
Okay, you've not done this all your life though, have you? Tell me, what was your goal when you were at school and wanted to leave school? What is it you really wanted to do?
When I was at school, I actually wanted to be a footballer.
Right.
As probably many young boys always wanted to be. So yeah, I played football for a long time, and that was really what I wanted to be. And then just got to a certain age where I realised that wasn't going to happen, unfortunately. It just wasn't good enough, and I kind of just fell into sales, and into a sales role, and kind of just gone from there really. So yeah, that's.
And what was your first sales role, serious sales role?
I think the first serious sales role, I worked for an advertising company in London. Am I able to say the name of the company or
if you like?
Yeah. The company was UBM at the time, and they were a major company around the world, doing events, doing exhibitions, and doing trade publications. And that was a real grounding in terms of learning about sales. The people that we worked with really knew their stuff about how to sell, especially selling advertising. It's quite a hard sale.
So what were you doing to get customers? Was it telesales, advertising? Was it knocking on doors? What kind of sales was it?
It was primarily phone based, phoning up. I was in the health and safety sector within the company, so we were selling
health and safety.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So it could be a tough sell. But I tell you what, about that industry, people are really nice people, and they only really want to keep people safe. So in some respects, it was actually quite a nice industry to go into, because it wasn't, slamming the phone down on you or anything like that. They allowed you to speak and allowed you sort of to learn your craft in some respects. So,
sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you left that.
Yes.
What did you do then?
I left there. I actually went on holiday with my friend, and it was her family, and I became really great friends with her dad. It was actually his 50th birthday. We went to Spain, went to Marbella, and he had a lighting business, which was kind of plateauing at the time, and he just needed a new lease of life to really sort of restart the business in some respects and push it on to the next level. And we just had a really great chat in a swimming pool. I guess that's kind of where my interview was. It was in a swimming pool in Marbella for this lighting company, and he liked what I had to say and the ideas and the thoughts and how we could grow the business, how we could get more staff, how we could just really, as I say, re-energise the business.
Sure.
And then we got back in about a week or a couple of weeks later. He offered me a role as a business development manager, and I was at that lighting company for nearly 10 years.
So that gave you a good grounding for business and for sales, I take it.
yeah, you know what, working with one-to-one with a managing director or with an owner of a company, you learn so much, for everything from, you know, simple things like how much you buy at and how much you sell at, you know, your margins that you need to make a business profitable, management, so, you know, working with staff one-to-one, how you handle different situations. All staff are totally different, all have different needs that you need to cater for. You know, some need
the thing that I've learned is not every member of staff is good. You have to get rid of some staff that are bad, and that can be, because one bad apple can really rot the rest, especially in a sales environment.
Yeah, totally. To be honest with you, one of the things I think I learned from him was that he was actually too loyal and actually too nice, and so there sometimes were people that were allowed to stay at the business for too long, and so what you say there is totally right. I think as soon as you have a dynamic that doesn't work within a sales situation, or a dynamic that doesn't work for your business, you need to make sure that you can make that decision, actually let that person go. And actually you're doing them a favour, because they can go on to do something that will be far more suitable, and perhaps they can make more money than they could working for you. So yeah, I think you really do have to make that decision in terms of letting people go if it's not suitable.
COVID arrives.
Yeah.
I take it you've stopped at the lighting company, you're sent home?
Well, actually, the lighting company placed me on furlough. So I guess really preceding COVID, it was probably about 6-8 months before that, I'd actually come across electric vehicle chargers in an electrical trade magazine.
Okay.
Because I always used to read the trade magazines. There was a guy I used to work for way back, and he always used to say to me, read City AM, read the journals that are in your industry, just read them. Even sometimes you don't understand exactly what's being said or exactly what it means. Just by kind of like an osmosis, you kind of just start picking up words. You especially as a young person, if you start reading those types of magazines and those types of newspapers at a young age about business, I think you can really absorb lots of information. And especially now, you know, with social media, with the internet and stuff,
yeah,
you know, being more prominent, there is so much information you can just pick up and read, and maybe find journalists that are within business that you can maybe read their articles about business as well. So anyway, just going back, I used to read one of the trade magazines within the electrical industry, and I found an advert for electric vehicle chargers, and I was like, what the hell is that? I've never seen that before. And then started doing some research on electric cars. And then we did a test website, and we started seeing traffic going to the website. So, and then COVID came round.
Before you did the test website, had you made a decision at this point? I've had enough of the lighting industry. I'm going to start my own business.
Yeah. I think actually it was in my mind to start my own business maybe 3 years before I'd even left. I think there was something going on with me. Probably I'd say 2 to 3 years before I left, I was thinking, you know what, I want to work for myself. I'm making this company I work for a lot of money.
Brave.
Why can't I do it? Why can't I make that money for myself? And I looked back at my own family journey as well, and all of the men that I've looked up to and stuff, they've all sort of worked for themselves. You know, my granddad, he was a taxi driver. You know, it's not a big glamorous business, but he worked for himself. He had his own freedom. He could do what he wanted. If he wanted to work 3 hours, he worked 3 hours. If he wanted to work 12 hours, he'd work 12 hours. So that was always a big sort of idea that started coming around, you know. So that started coming into my mindset about having the freedom to be able to choose when I worked and when I didn't work.
And when you decided to start your own business, did you realise the difference between starting your own business and being an employee? Because a lot of people start their own business and then they think, shit, what have I done here? Were you at that? Did that hit you, or was this totally normal for you?
I'd say I say it's been really incremental, the way my business has started. When I set out, it was literally just to be able to work when I wanted, to have my own freedom. If I wanted to go and work in Spain for 6 months, I could do that remotely. It wasn't an issue. So I don't think the overall goal was to become, you know, this big Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, you know, character. It was more about having the freedom to move around the globe or just set my own parameters, I guess, in my own work-life balance.
Sure.
So it's gone from that to now, you know, we're hiring staff. We've got staff working for us. So it's now changed to what you just said there. That's actually gone, it's just grown organically there within our own industry, whereby we have to have staff now. There's no.
Well, the EV industry is getting bigger, isn't it, every day? I mean, it's like we're hearing about it on the news and coming away. Every time I turn up to somebody that, if I'm filming them and that does renewable energy, oh, I see you're driving a diesel car. I'm thinking, yeah, because I can't afford an electric car. No, I'm not kidding. So it's changing, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're getting used to the electric vehicles.
Yeah, totally. But just to pick up on what you said there, our philosophy, and I always say this to the guys that work for us, that we're not here to preach to people about changing from diesel to electric. We really aren't. That's not our job. I think there's enough science out there. There's enough legislation within government where people will change over naturally and organically. There's no fight.
And I love that attitude.
Yeah.
That you're not here to preach to the petrol and diesel drivers.
Absolutely not.
You're here to provide a service for the people that have got the electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And that might seem normal to you, but that's actually quite rare. Okay. Because when I say I've turned up to people in the day of renewable energy, and they say to me, "Oh, you've got a diesel vehicle," and I think, what's that got to do with you? You know, you can get off in a bad foot. You're judging already.
Yeah, totally.
And you know, instead of educating, they feel they need to preach to me about driving a diesel and providing the service of electric.
Yeah.
But so you saying that as that's a skill that it might mean nothing to you.
Yeah.
But the very fact that you said, I'm not here to educate you, I'm here to deliver a service to the industry that I can service is very unique.
Yeah.
But you said earlier on that you did a test website.
Yes.
Based on what? Was it keyword research, or how did you do that?
Now, our shows wouldn't be possible without our fantastic sponsors. And this week, we have Volta EV and the wonderful Chris. Don't forget to check out his website and support him too. Thank you.
With the ever-increasing demand in electric vehicles, Volta charge points are the choice for many when it comes to EV charging. Volta charge points are industry leaders and have the most amount of EV charging products available to buy, including home, solar, wall and floor-mounted options. We stock the world's leading brands available at your fingertips. To find the right charger for you, contact Volta Charge Points and speak to one of our experts, or visit our website today at www.voltaev.co.uk.
Well, the advert that I found was of a specific manufacturer, and I went away, looked at their products, and I guess I really looked at the product and tried to learn as much as I could about this product and relate it to what I've sold previously.
Okay.
And in some respects, lighting and an EV charger, they're not massively different in some respects in terms of it's a hardware product. You have to have an electrician fit it. You can't just go in and start doing your own electrics, with lighting and stuff. So there's that kind of very, an easy similarity to make. And then we just used that manufacturer's products to begin with. We put them on the website, and it just literally it was organic. There was no AdWords. We weren't doing anything like that.
People were starting to come to you then.
Yeah, and I think because it was a big brand name, and they were one of the only brands in the UK, it was quite an easy find.
And was that the light bulb moment?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Sorry about the pun. But was that a light bulb moment for you to say, you know what, I'm going in business?
Yeah. You know what? I think it was. As I say, we started to see the traffic, and And it just, it made total sense, to be honest. It made total sense just to go into that, yeah.
So what was the transition then from the test website to saying, this is it, I'm doing this for real? What did you have to do to get things in place?
I'd made the decision that I was going to leave in 2020. I thought I'd just make a plunge. And the reason I thought I'd make the plunge is, at the time, I was single. I had no children. I had no dependents. It was like, I've got a great family. If anything did go wrong, you know, my mum would have me back. She'd let me live back with her, no problem. So I'm lucky in that respect that I had a great background in terms of family support and family unit, so I could make that reach and make that decision to actually go for it. But I didn't do it straight away. Like you say, COVID come round, and when that came round, it kind of just like put everything on hold. And the company I was working for, the lighting company, they placed me on furlough. So it was an opportunity whereby I could be paid to stay at home. Obviously, everyone had to, but I could work on my own business at the time. So yeah, that's what I did. And I have to say, you know what? I don't want to sound too dramatic, but I actually think having that opportunity to work on my business at home maybe saved me mentally. And really.
Because you could focus on it, could you?
And provided structure. So it allowed me to, you know what, I'm at work today, I'm getting up, I'm going to be in work for 8 a.m. I would sit at a desk and I would do my hours as if I was at the lighting company. So I think that really, really just gave me that like I say, the stability, the routine, and I know a lot of people suffered without that. So I guess the business means even more to me, because in some, I don't want to say it saved my life, because that's very dramatic, but it gave me that mental stimulation that I would need every day, and I know a lot of people missed out on that. So it was meant a lot to me.
Go on to now, tell me about you've done this website, you've done a test, you've got COVID, you're seeing traction come to it. I take it now you've had to start phoning ring suppliers and saying, hey, I want to sell your product. How did that all come about? Did they want to work with you?
Yeah, you know what? There was we came around at a time when there were so many manufacturers starting to come into the industry that they were still baby eggs themselves.
Okay.
So I was literally dealing with the manufacturer, the owner, and we were like, we want to supply your products, on our website and try and help you grow your business. And there's been a couple of manufacturers where we've literally been with them. One of the best ones is OHME, OHME, and when we started with them, there was maybe 5 people in their business, and now they're absolutely huge, and they've got a great partnership with Octopus. Loads of people out there will have seen their product now because of their integration with Octopus Energy and stuff. So we were literally with them from the beginning, and our growth has been, a little bit, similar to them. And there's other manufacturers out there that we've worked with since the beginning. There's a company called local to this area called My Energy, who we were working with as well, right from the very early days. But I could go on. There's EO that we were started with in the very early days.
Sure.
So yeah, there's loads of them out there.
Now talk to me about, to grow a business you have to get sales.
Yeah.
To get sales you have to spend.
Yeah.
Where are you spending? I take it you're on Google Ads, I take it.
Yeah. Originally, my real source of, I knew my target audience, I guess, and my target audience were installers and consumers. The consumer side of things, in terms of selling online, is not my strength. So I guess I allowed that to grow naturally. I tried to learn as much as I could about AdWords to get it going. But it got to a point where we needed expert help, so we reached out to a third-party media agency who, they chased us for about nearly a year trying to work with us. And the whole AdWords spending and stuff, that whole world is, you've got to be really, really careful. There's so many agencies out there. Some are really good.
Hundreds. And some of them are really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
So you've got to take your time. Anything like that, I always think, you know, do your research on them, look at the Trustpilot reviews. You just really just got to, sometimes it's better to wait rather than just jumping in and thinking, oh, they're going to make me loads of money off Google AdWords and stuff, and SEO and all that kind of thing. So so that was outsourced, but my core skill was selling and getting in front of installers and speaking to installers and understanding their journey.
So they were buying from you then, I take it?
Yeah, and the way we reached out was partly phone, but also through social media. And we just literally dialed straight into their Instagram page or their Facebook page or wherever it was, and we would literally go out to them and just speak to them and say, listen, we've got these chargers, who are you selling at the moment, we'd love to work with you, and then just try and build rapport in that respect.
Now let me move on to the aspect of, I come under the category of clueless when it comes to electric vehicles.
Okay.
Know nothing about them.
Sure.
I've been on a website, I've seen there's 1,000 chargers, I'm like, which one do I pick?
Yeah.
Educate me. Let's talk about your website. We go on your website, hundreds of chargers, I'm like, what am I looking at here? How do I know what charger to pick for my vehicle? Educate me.
In your car manual, it will say whether it's a Type 1 or a Type 2. We're lucky in Europe, we've kind of standardised, so most European cars, in fact nearly all of them now, are Type 2. The Type 1 cars are usually sort of Nissan, Mitsubishi, sort of the Japanese cars. So you're fairly safe to say if you're driving a BMW, a Polestar, a Tesla, if you're driving, say like Renaults, some of the Renaults. So yeah, as I say, the European cars are usually Type 2. Once you know that, the availability of chargers is now down to whether you want to try and get cheaper energy tariffs. And
I'm also right in saying that the more expensive the charger, the faster it charges, or is that a myth?
For a residential setting, that's a myth.
Yes.
For a residential setting, that's a myth. Yeah. All of the chargers now are sort of charging at 7.4 kilowatt. So it's all the same. The more expensive chargers, you're usually paying for an aesthetic change. There's a great brand. They're really expensive, but they're called Anderson, and they have specific colours that you can change it to. The colour range is over 100 different colours.
Is that to fit the home environment then?
Correct. Yeah. So if you've got like a red brick background, you could have a red brick front cover, and they've got like a Koya wood front covers. So you're paying a bit more extra for that, option rather than just the standard black plastic charger.
Cables, do they come with it? Install? Do I have to do it myself? Do you do it? Is it arranged by you? Do I need to phone an electrician? How does it work?
Yeah, so with us on a residential setting, we just do supply only because we're not installers. I'm not an installer. Don't profess to be, never have done. The electrical industry, in terms of installation, there are so many great installers out there. We don't feel we need to be getting involved in their industry in terms of installation. They're brilliant at what they do.
Okay, so I'd buy a charger from you and then I'd phone a local installer.
Yeah, local installer.
How do I find a reputable installer? Is there a website or something I can check that the guy that's coming is legit?
Yeah, sure. We can help you with that. So we have a database where we can give you information on local installers in your area. And we'll give you 2-3 names, contact details and stuff, and you can contact them and then, do a best of 3 for quotation.
Sure.
Or who you like the best of, who you like speaking with, the best that puts you at ease. So,
how much does it cost to charge a car overnight, roughly?
Yeah, overnight at home. So I literally charged my car the other day, and it was on about 10%, and we charged up to 90%, and that was about £17, and that would then last me about 10 days. And I'm on expensive tariff. We're on 25p per kilowatt hour. We were locked into that before we got the electric car, so when that comes up for renewal, we'll be then looking for a cheaper tariff to bring that down even further. So yeah, I think, you know, if I'm paying at the moment around £17, if someone's on 7p, that's, I'm not very good at maths. What's the good maths of that?
You're asking me for,
Third
I'm Scottish.
Third less.
I'm going to.
But yeah, £10, really cheap, really cheap.
Right.
Yeah.
Where is it going in the future? Is it going to get? We've got a new government in Britain.
Yeah.
They're all renewable.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Is it going to get better? Are we going to see more electric cars? Are they going to come down in price? What's going on?
Yeah, I think electric cars are definitely coming down in price. They're already coming down in price. I think they'll be on parity with standard ICE vehicles in the next couple of years, if not sooner. I really do. There's some manufacturers starting to bring out some really great cheaper options for people to have. But I'll be honest, I think we're going to see a rise in leasing further. I think car ownership is something that's going to die away. I really do, and I think a lot of businesses are offering their staff fleet
and
options,
better
deals. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the job market at the moment is quite competitive, so I think, you know, employees want to keep the best staff. What a great perk that is by offering them, you know, an electric vehicle, you know, through their business. So I think leasing options is only going to increase as well. In terms of charging, I think the batteries are going to get even more efficient, so you'll have even larger ranges.
I mean, when electric vehicles first started coming out, it was shocking.
Yeah, not the best, no.
But things have changed now, haven't they?
Yeah, so my car does just a little over 300 miles on a single charge. So
300 miles?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's you know, pretty decent range. And on my day-to-day life, I'm probably only doing about 10 miles a day. Seriously.
Really?
Yeah, 5 miles down the hill to my office and then 5 miles back up the hill.
Right.
And that's like a Monday to Friday type thing. So, yeah, you know, there's a lot of people that are like that. Their mileage is low. They don't really, you know, drive all over the country all of the time.
Sure.
So I think the average is only around about something like 12 miles a day that people travel. I'm sure it's something really low. It's really, really low.
Unless you work for me.
Yeah.
And it's like $1,200 a month, you know.
Yeah.
Chargers, they've been sold on various websites. What's making you successful compared to your competition?
Yeah, what's making us successful? I think at the moment our Trustpilot, you know, reviews are fantastic. I think we're at 4.9 stars, and any day now we're going to tip into 5, which is really, really hard to do. So that I think the customer service for a start is.
So what feedback are you getting then from these reviews? What is it people are loving?
Customer service, we're attentive, we take the time, we're not trying to rush you off the phone. If you want to speak to us for 20 minutes about a charger because you're not sure, like you said earlier, you know, there's a myriad of options, we will take the time and be with you on that phone for 20 minutes if that's what it takes. Emails, we reply really quickly. You know, a company standard is within 12 hours. I'll be surprised if it's, you know, if it's any longer than an hour. We're that quick. And
is that going to be easy to maintain that level of
that's going to be
service?
really tough. Of course it is. As you grow, you have to keep employing the right people. We're always looking for conscientious people, and that's across all sectors of all departments of a company. Conscientious people. That's one of the main things we always look out for when hiring. So, you know, it's going to be tough, obviously, to maintain really, really high standards, but you've got to start high and just always keep aiming for those high standards. I think that's...
And how are you as a person finding the journey since you were an employee to Furlough to starting your own business? How have you found the journey in yourself?
Surreal. I think surreal sometimes, you know. Having people...
Mental health problems at times? Because everybody I've spoken to has got the same, or, you know, sometimes they go to bed and they're worrying about things. Or what do you guys worry about?
I think that creeps in. I have this weird like wobble every so often. I think it usually comes around actually before something where the business evolves and it improves. So there's always this weird bit. It's a few days and it's like, you know, my partner will testify to that. it's like a weird, like, oh my God, it's all going to go wrong. It's all going to end tomorrow. And then you sort of just come through that bit, and then suddenly something amazing happens, and you're like, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. You know, this is, you know, we're achieving things that we never, you know, necessarily thought was going to happen.
It's going to happen, yeah.
It's grown organically, and we're just trying to do our best every day, you know. So yeah, I think like a psychological or whatever you want to call them, they do happen, of course they do, because it can be pressurized situation. You've got people, especially when you start employing people, that are relying on you in terms of where this business is going to go. You know, you appreciate that they've got rent or you know, mortgages.
That's where finding the right people comes in, because you know, everybody wants a job, but have they got your back? And that's what you need to ask yourself. The guys that I'm speaking to, you know, that off camera, I'm saying to them, what's one of the most important things? I said, whoever you employ, make sure they've got your back. Make sure they've got the same standards you have. Otherwise, you're on a road to disaster with them, you know. So you finding that as well,
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we always look for, apart from conscientious, we always look for people who maybe they may have had a bit of a tough start, or they've got a little bit of a point to prove. People have sort of said, no, you can't do it, or have maybe assumed that their character isn't suitable for business, or, we always look for people that maybe need some, you know, they want to prove something to the world, you know what, I'm not just here just to be a person, I want to do something. So, yeah, we look for that as well.
Well, I've got my CV here. So, last question. What's your advice to anybody that's watching this, that thinking about starting their own business? Because it ain't easy. What's your advice to them?
Advice to them? I think my advice would be, any business you start, you've got to understand what you're selling, because ultimately when you start a business, you're selling something, service, product, whatever it might be. You really need to understand what it is, and then who you want to sell to. And the quickest way, I think, to do that is when you're selling, once you understand who you're selling to, understand the low-hanging fruit first. Get to them first. Great advice.
Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, Kevin.
You've got 31 minutes of interview there, which is fantastic, and all the best for the future.
Brilliant, thanks.
See you later.
Nice one. Cheers.
With the ever-increasing demand in electric vehicles, Volta charge points are the choice for many when it comes to EV charging. Volta charge points are industry leaders and have the most amount of EV charging products available to buy, including home, solar, wall and floor-mounted options. We stock the world's leading brands available at your fingertips. To find the right charger for you, contact Volta Charge Points and speak to one of our experts, or visit our website today at www.voltaev.co.uk.